You tell yourself you'll start saving next month. This month was harder than usual. There were unexpected expenses. Things came up. It wasn't the right time. Next month, you'll be more careful. Next month, you'll have more left over. And then next month arrives, and it looks almost exactly like this one. The numbers are close enough. The outcome is the same. Nothing saved. And the month after that, same thing. And somewhere along the way, the intention to save stops feeling like a plan and starts feeling like a fantasy. Something other people do. People who earn more. People who are better with money. People who have some quality you don't quite have. And the worst part isn't the empty savings account. The worst part is the guilt that lives around it. The quiet, persistent feeling that you should be doing better. That you know what you're supposed to do and you're not doing it. That something is wrong with your relationship to money in a way you can't fully explain or fix. But here's what's worth examining carefully. The advice on saving money is not complicated. Spend less than you earn. Automate a transfer. Build an emergency fund. Most people who can't save have heard all of this. They've read the articles, they understand the logic, and yet the behavior doesn't change, which means the problem isn't information. People don't fail to save because they don't know they should. They fail to save because something else is happening. Something underneath the financial surface. Something the standard advice doesn't touch. The hidden reason most people can't save has nothing to do with math. It has to do with how your brain experiences time. Specifically, the profound and deeply wired human tendency to value the present far more than the future. Not as an abstract preference, but as a neurological reality. When your brain weighs something available right now against something available later, the present option carries a disproportionate weight that doesn't reflect its actual value. A relief, a comfort, a small pleasure available today feels more real, more compelling, more urgent than a larger benefit available in a year. This isn't irrationality exactly. It's the way human cognition was shaped in environments where the future was genuinely uncertain and the present was what you had to work with. But it plays out in modern financial life in a very specific and damaging way. Saving money means taking something real and present. Money you can feel, money you can spend. Money that exists in your account right now, and moving it toward a future that is abstract, distant, and emotionally unreal. The future version of you who benefits from that saving doesn't feel like you. That version is too far away, too hypothetical, too separate from the person sitting here today with this phone, these bills, this tiredness, these small desires. So when you face the choice between spending something now and saving it for later, the now version consistently wins. Not because you're irresponsible, but because your brain is doing exactly what evolution built it to do. Prioritize the tangible over the theoretical. This is where things get strange. The gap between your present self and your future self is, for most people, much wider than they realize. Research consistently shows that people relate to their future selves the way they relate to strangers, with less emotional connection, less empathy, less felt sense of continuity. When you imagine yourself in 10 years, the mental image doesn't carry the same weight as the feeling of being you right now. So saving for that future person feels at a level below conscious reasoning, like giving money to someone you don't quite know. And giving money to strangers, no matter how logically justified, is harder than spending it on yourself today. And this is why willpower-based approaches to saving almost always fail, eventually. You can override the present bias once. You can override it twice. But willpower is a depletable resource, and every day it runs a little lower, especially in the modern environment that is designed to constantly offer you things to spend on. Eventually the override fails, and when it does, the person concludes that they simply don't have what it takes to save, when what actually happened is that they were trying to solve a structural problem with personal effort, which is the wrong tool for the problem. What most people miss is the second layer underneath the time preference issue, which is the role that financial anxiety plays in short-term spending. Here's the pattern. When money feels scarce, or uncertain, or like it might run out, the brain shifts into a scarcity mindset that actually makes spending more likely, not less. This seems counterintuitive, but the mechanism is real. Scarcity focuses attention narrowly on the immediate shortage and reduces the cognitive bandwidth available for long-term thinking. When you're worried about money, you're less able to think clearly about financial planning, less able to defer gratification, more likely to make decisions that feel relieving in the short term, even when they worsen the long-term position. Financial stress creates the exact cognitive conditions that make saving harder, which deepens the financial stress, which makes saving even harder. It's a loop that tightens on itself. And there's an emotional component layered on top of this that almost nobody talks about. For a significant number of people, spending money provides a form of emotional relief that is immediate, accessible, and reliable. A hard day at work, a frustrating interaction, a low mood, a feeling of being deprived or overlooked or exhausted, and there is always a purchase available that can soften that feeling, even a small one, even a trivial one. The mechanism doesn't care about the size of the purchase, it cares about the momentary shift in feeling. And when spending has become your primary tool for emotional regulation, reducing spending doesn't feel like a financial adjustment. It feels like losing a coping mechanism. It feels like losing access to one of the few things that reliably makes a hard day feel slightly better. This explains why people who try to cut spending aggressively often feel an emotional deprivation that has nothing to do with material need. The thing they're losing isn't just the purchase, it's the relief the purchase was providing, and without an alternative way to access that relief, the restriction doesn't hold. They return to spending, not out of weakness, but out of genuine, emotional need that was never addressed. There's also a social dimension to this that shapes saving behavior in ways that are easy to underestimate. The standard of living most people experience in their daily social environment creates an invisible baseline that spending naturally gravitates toward. What your friends spend on restaurants, what your colleagues spend on clothes, what the people you follow online spend on experiences and objects. All of this accumulates into an ambient sense of what normal looks like. And spending below that normal feels like an active sacrifice, like opting out of something, like falling behind. The decision not to spend is never just a financial decision. It's a social signal to yourself and to others about where you belong. And belonging is a deep human need that quietly competes with financial rationality. So the inability to save is rarely just about math or motivation. It's about time perception, emotional regulation, social belonging, and a scarcity psychology that undermines the very thinking needed to escape scarcity. These are not moral failures. They are predictable human responses to a specific combination of conditions. And understanding them as conditions, rather than as character flaws, is the beginning of actually changing them. What actually helps, in a way that lasts, tends to share one common feature. It removes the decision from the moment of temptation. The approaches to saving that work are not the ones that require you to feel motivated every day, or to override your present bias repeatedly through willpower. They're the ones that make saving happen automatically, before the money enters your daily spending environment, before it becomes psychologically available to spend, when money is transferred to savings automatically on the day it arrives. Before you've had a chance to see it as spendable, something fundamental shifts. It's not that you become more disciplined, it's that the decision no longer needs to be made repeatedly. The default changes. And defaults are enormously powerful because they don't require any decision at all. You don't have to choose to save. It already happened. What's in your account is what's available, and the brain, which was going to spend whatever felt available anyway, now calibrates to a lower number. The adjustment is real, but it happens without the daily friction of resisting temptation, because there's nothing to resist. The size of the automatic transfer matters less than the consistency of it. Starting with an amount so small it's almost embarrassing, an amount that causes no noticeable change in your daily life, and letting it run automatically for several months, does something the large dramatic saving attempt never does. It builds a saved balance that becomes real. And once a saved balance exists and grows, something in your psychological relationship with money begins to shift. The future self starts to feel slightly more real. The abstract becomes slightly less abstract. The account number becomes evidence rather than aspiration. There's also something important about reducing the emotional load that drives spending as relief. This doesn't require therapy or a complete lifestyle redesign. It requires small, honest adjustments to the pattern of emotional friction in your daily life. The same adjustments that help with cognitive clarity and burnout because they're all drawing on the same underlying system. More recovery, fewer unnecessary decisions, less time in environments designed to trigger desire, more small moments of genuine rest that don't require spending to access. These changes don't sound like financial advice, but they reduce the frequency and intensity of the emotional states that spending was serving. And as that load decreases, the compulsion to relieve it through purchasing decreases with it. The deepest shift, though, is about the future self. It's worth spending a moment with this because it changes the emotional logic of saving. If the reason saving is hard is partly that the future version of you doesn't feel real or connected enough to motivate sacrifice today, then making that version more real, more vivid, more personally meaningful, changes the calculation. Not by imagining yourself on a beach in retirement, because that image is too abstract and too distant to carry real emotional weight, but by connecting saving to something closer, something emotionally resonant, something that feels like it belongs to a version of you that still feels like you. A specific scenario, a specific feeling you want to have in 2 years, a specific situation you want to no longer be in. The more concrete and personally meaningful the target, the more the future self stops feeling like a stranger and starts feeling like someone worth protecting. You don't save because you lack willpower. You don't save because the system was designed assuming you have a psychological relationship with time and money that almost nobody actually has. Once you understand what's actually in the way, you can stop trying to overcome it with effort and start designing around it instead. Small automatic steps. Reduced emotional friction. A future that feels personal enough to protect. These aren't hacks. They're just finally working with how your mind actually functions, instead of against it. If this felt familiar, comment "can't save." It helps me know this is something more people are silently dealing with.